And staying with budget expectations, we now turn our focus on what investors are expecting from the upcoming budget. My colleague Ritu Singh caught up with Anand, Lunia, the founding partner at India Quotient, and Sanket, Parekh, the executive director at Pidilite Ventures, to find out. Take a look.
Since we're very close to the budget, I know there have been the long-standing asks of the VC ecosystem, of the startup ecosystem, whether it's taxation, whether it's some capital gains-related taxation measures and so on and so forth. What are your expectations this time around? Win more or lose more?
We want tax parity with public investments or for the private investment sector.
Yes.
Besides that, I'm hoping for more UPI moments. For example, in construction.
Yeah.
For example, in education. For example, in hospitality. Sometimes owned by the same people, right?
Yeah.
So I think we are not going to see any startups changing this space anytime soon.
Okay, Sanket, are you a little more optimistic than Anand, I hope?
Cautiously optimistic, I guess, but I echo his words on the taxation. I think any opportunity that can create better liquidity will generate better attention and attract more people. So if an out is not there, an in will be challenged, and that's the long-term perspective.
What would make the ease of doing business here better? If you were to give your 2 tips to the finance minister, if she may be listening, what would you say?
I think the access to the market in terms of regulations and listing, similar to, as Anand said, on parity with the public-private, in this case, parity with the global norms on registrations, so that for a foreign fund that may be looking at India, for them it becomes very natural if it's on parity. It's not a whole new. The beauty about India is that it's in English, so it's easier for foreign funds to understand and explore. But if the requirements are made on parity, it becomes that much easier and quicker. So speed is of the essence in this case, and anything that can help improve the speed to market, whether it's entry into market or even exit, can be beneficial.
What are the big themes you'll watch out for in this budget?
For the next decade, I'd say, Ritu, hopefully starting with this budget, bulk of what we spend as a middle class, right, is on education and on shelter, right, a home. And both of these sectors, we haven't really seen anything. And we need these sectors to open up. We need to attract a lot of capital. We need to democratize these spaces. It's sort of a black box, right? And that's where I like to see action happening. They're very big sectors, and I think the government is doing a good job on power, on infra, roads, etc.
And that Make in India push with the PLI.
Absolutely. But study in India also would be a good push, right? I think the number of students going abroad. At some point, by the way, we'll need Make in India for education, because we are buying so much of, importing so much of education, right? If you extrapolate the trend, we'll be spending a lot more on like Indians buying homes abroad, Indians buying education abroad, might exceed our oil bill. It's really that bad.
What would you want the government to focus on from here? What does the sector need? Because it's still at this nascent space, especially when you talk about green construction in India.
I think regulations on pushing for more adoption of green technology within the home development, home construction ecosystem. I think the West is extremely evolved on pushing for certain material usage. I think the industry needs a little bit more push in that direction.
Let me end by asking you both about the overall macroeconomic picture, the funding winter, which people like Anand seem to love. That's been sort of the theme for the last couple of years, restructuring, layoffs, hard time for startups. Is the overall picture starting to look clearer, better?
I think from a founder's perspective, they're recognizing that unit economics are now becoming more important than just how much money you're raising.
And investors too are placing more,
we love
importance.
it. As a corporate, for us, as a publicly traded company, unit economics are, essential. We talk about profitability on an ongoing basis. So seeing founders also speak the same language is music to our ears.
Anand, final word from you. Are you worried the winter's ending?
We had a good run in the winter.
Yeah.
The best time to build companies.
Yeah.
Everything comes cheap. I'm worried that a little bit of deluge of capital will happen at some point soon. Right?
You don't think we've learned our lessons of the past?
We haven't. I think I've been through so many cycles. There was a cycle right after the Lehman crash and there was a cycle after the dot-com crash. The cycles keep happening. And this deluge might be bigger than the last one.
Why would you say so?
Compared to the US is going to go into an easing at some point.
Yeah. Right? So all the money will flow back?
Money will flow back. It's already flowing in and it'll flow back. And right now, India is practically the only place which sort of seems to be attractive for the whole world. I think we, as gatekeepers of capital, have to be on our toes, very careful this time. Entrepreneurs may have learned some lesson, but there's always a new crop of entrepreneurs, new crop of investors, and I'm sure we'll repeat some mistakes. Not all of them, but...
Well, hopefully not the seasoned players.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, it's time for us to head into a short break. But coming up, Priyanka Gill has been elevated to the Good Clam Group board. She's also part of Kalari Capital as a venture partner. We speak to Priyanka to find out what her new roles entail on the other side. Stay tuned.